Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trident Wargaming. We have some more 40k action here ready for you. I'm joined with Scott, as you can see, gracing us with his presence. So, I guess first things first, as we always do, kicking off with some hobby stuff. I guess, Scott, what have you been doing while you've been recovering?
Yeah, sleeping mostly. No. I have had some hobby stuff on the go. I'm kind of in a weird spot right now where I'm kind of like, usually with my hobby stuff, like, I get really fixated on one army. I think most people do, and you want to paint up a bunch of stuff, right?
Always.
But I've had like a project from like a bunch of different armies on the go. And I think it's kind of a bit of a symptom of just the way that the rules are right now, where you know, there's a Marine book coming in probably just a couple weeks. But like I've been having fun with my Necrons, but I have hardly touched my AdMech in 10th. So I don't know. I kind of feel like, well, I don't know what I'm going to be playing a month from now. So what do I want to paint? And that's been freeing because I've just been painting what I actually just feel like painting. So I finally got around to start working on my Desolators, the arms and the missiles that I'll be using, because for my Marines, I tend to just have a bunch of intercessor bodies, and then I swap out arms as I like them. And I picked up Luminor Caesaris for my Necrons that I've been working on that model. That model is gorgeous, but an incredibly huge pain in the ass to deal with. Probably the most difficult model actually I've ever done. Just in terms of assembly and painting and everything. Necron models are all, anybody who's done them can tell you, they're all a huge hassle. A lot of surfaces, a lot of details, a lot of fiddly bits. This one takes the cake, but I really would love to use them more. So I've been working on that, trying to kind of settle on a color scheme that I'm happy with. Arthur was giving it to me the other week because I was playing my Necrons, and he likes to point out how there's a lot of different colors in there, because I use different colors to kind of denote the role of a unit within the Necron army, because there's that stratification in the lore about them and stuff. Arthur thinks the whole army should be the exact same color scheme with absolutely no difference model to model, obviously. So, which is fair, you know, I guess. But that's what I've been working on, is Caesaris and those Marine arms, Desolators, Hellblasters, and I started working on some Cataphrons too for my AdMech, because I only got like, I think 12 and want to move up a little bit in the number there. So been working on a lot.
Nice. Oh, very nice.
How about you, Bill?
It sounds a lot more productive than I've been, at least on the hobby front.
I was going to say, you've been busy though.
Yeah, I've been busy. It's been a wild couple months. So if you don't know, because I haven't really talked about it very much, I ended up getting a flood in the basement here 2 months ago. And so as you can kind of see the floor, I've got this curtain because behind the floor, it's all whitewashed. Cool. Yeah. It's basically a white concrete floor. The whole room had to kind of get gutted. I had all my stuff kind of polyed off for a bit. And now that everything's kind of cleaned up and stuff, it's just kind of the rebuild phase. But my whole basement's like that right now, so it's been a little bit busy that way. I am actually finished sorting all my paints, so I can start painting my Drukhari finally. It's I actually have a station all laid out for them. It's nice. It's a lot of infantry though, a lot more than I originally thought it was going to be. So a little bit of a challenge. It very much is. I'm actually picking up one of the flyers from a buddy in Victoria when I go see him in November, just to round it off. Just because I would like a flyer, I think it'd be nice. Just a little bit of a option every once in a while to throw them out there. So see how that goes.
I've heard they're good too.
See how that goes. So That's basically been it for me on the front, though. I haven't kind of putting Marines together because as I'm painting my Jakari full time, I really don't want to be transporting the army back and forth. That's when you get the, classic fuck ups. You're not sealing and varnishing all your models. You're going to start having scratches on your base coats, your colors, just causing unnecessary damage. I also not taking the time to really pack them into a tray, like a Crusader case or a special tray, foam, anything. I just kind of put them in that box lid and kind of roll out from game to game, and you start breaking off some spikes, and it becomes more of a hassle than it needs to be.
It's just authentic battle damage.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is. So, but that's basically been it for me.
You're painting walls instead of painting models.
Yeah, well, and that's pretty much it. We are going to redo a lot of the stuff in here. It will make the war room a lot more pretty, though, for everybody. So the videos,
Facelift.
That's right, the videos to come should look really good. Very well, might even clean up enough to have some stream potential in the future. So there's a few things I've been looking at.
Be a long winter. Let's fill that up with some Warhammer, right?
Absolutely. It's the best way. So I guess moving along into some sweet 40k action. The big one, we got through our Iron Within event. It was a smashing success. Big shout to Scott for helping make it all that it could be. And obviously Andy and Arthur, they were there in full force. They were ringing for us. They were getting the rounds in, shaking hands and rolling dice, which was nice. It helped to make it a huge success. So, and then all the boys that came by to help paint for the event as well. Like, big shout to everybody who helped out. It was very much appreciated. It definitely makes for light work when you have an assembly line of 5 or 6 guys all kind of doing different stages of terrain. You can bang a lot of stuff out pretty quick. So I really like that.
Yeah, I said I had a couple of guys actually ask me during the course of the weekend if just how things were going, and I told them, like, honestly, it almost could not have gone off better. Like, we didn't have any issues with conflicts or rules issues. People, as far as I know, weren't losing stuff or having issues with getting there or getting home or misunderstanding things. Everybody was really well behaved. Everybody was really on time, which is always crazy for a tournament. We got 40 people in there, so it was the biggest I think we've done for a single game event, and the whole weekend was just spectacular. As far as from a TO's perspective, everything went off just great.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a lot of fun. So for Iron Within, Darren Jack ended up taking first place with his Gene Stealer cults. They're really cool looking army.
Beautiful.
Definitely have some interesting mechanics on the tabletop. I wasn't exactly aware of what they could do until I was watching it. I was like, oh, that's gross.
Now you get it.
Yeah. So that was very, very cool to check out anyways.
They're definitely, like, there's, I think in most people's minds, they're number 2 in the meta with a bullet. I've actually kind of personally felt like they're kind of sort of number 1, actually, just because Gene Stealer cults are actually probably favored to win the mirror match with Eldar right now, which is kind of a thing that I think a lot of savvy Gene Stealer cult players kind of lean into with tournaments, is that they don't really have a losing matchup. So because, and like, with all due respect to all the Gene Stealer players out there, the army's a bit overtuned, for sure. It's a little too strong. But knowing that you don't really have a weak matchup means that you can go into an event, you've got an army that you're feeling is strong enough to win with, and you know that no matter what, if you can outskill your opponent, you can win. Which is, I think, for Gene Stealer cult players, awesome, because that's like the best feeling in the world, is that you don't have to worry about running into a matchup where maybe you lose a game to somebody who couldn't play as well as you did, but just the way the rules were, sometimes that kind of comes your way. But this event actually was crawling with Genestealer Cult players. Literally, there was I think 4 altogether.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, and and it showed they did well. Darren, of course, I think Darren could have won the event with a variety of armies. He didn't win because of Genestealer Cults. He's a very good player. Fantastic guy to play with too, just a true gentleman. So it was really nice to see him take that down. But I do believe several of the other Genestealer Cult players had great runs too. They had a lot of fun. Hopefully, I think it also would be good if the people who got to play them got that experience, because cults are, of course, one of those armies like AdMac and Sisters, Grey Knights to some extent, that maybe don't see as much play, and you don't get to play against as often. You don't get to practice against as much, unless you have a friend who plays them. So hopefully everybody who got to play them had a good time too, and was able to learn things about the way they run. Because we'll still probably take some nerfs in a week or two here when the data slate comes out. The army is going to be popular for a little while, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that for sure. Nice thing about the event is we ended up adopting the Games Workshop terrain layouts for the most part, I guess I would say. We used them for every table, which was pretty legit. We were using 19, I believe, at the time, or 18 all in after some drops and stuff.
Yeah, I think we were at 19 tables, yeah.
So that was busy. I know in between rounds you were fucking rolling around doing your swap out here and there. So
the terrain saga is definitely a fun one. I think, like, just off the top, like, Trident, we take terrain about as seriously as I think anybody does. But actually starts with Bill. Obviously, this guy is just absolutely fanatic about getting as much good terrain as possible and getting it looking as sharp as possible. Being able to and this is a big thing for me, being able to put together tables that feel thematic, that feel like they are visually well put together, as well as strategically and tactically well put together, and then even matching that up with mats that work. So we're looking always to make our events just the pinnacle of terrain. Of course, the shift to 10th has thrown a curveball, not just at us, but everybody, where the whole community is kind of trying to figure out and navigate the changes in expectations for terrain. GW both threw a bit of a lifesaver, but also a little bit of a grenade at people with their suggested terrain layouts. I think I've gotten to play on them enough now that I do actually I do like them. I don't know. I still probably am a bit more of a homer for player placed, but I like the GW styles, and I do like the idea of events using them going forward, because I think they give players just a lot of comfort level, especially the more we play them. We did use all 4 of GW's suggested layouts for Iron Within. We obviously used one of them for 2 games. It was a 5-game event, but we managed to cycle through all of them on the various missions. One thing that I think NETO can tell you, and that we definitely agreed with ourselves, is that they do put more terrain on the table than even the relatively terrain dense version of the game that we had in 9th was. Yeah. And that is a challenge. I think especially after the expansion bill that you went through in the spring of your terrain collection, we figured, like, just eyeballing it, that we had 24 or 25 tables probably.
Yeah.
In 9th edition terms of terrain. And that converted once we really had everything all together. I think we only had 18 or 19 tables in 10th edition terms, which is pretty wild when you consider just how much that 6-7 extra tables were needed to kind of reinforce the ones we already had. And it worked out for this event great, which is nice. But it just goes to show you how much terrain you need to do those GW styles in a reasonably close way. Yeah. It taught me a lot, especially moving the terrain around in between missions. It taught me a lot about where you can make sacrifices on stuff that is kind of frivolous or unnecessary in those layouts, but also places where, nope, that needs to be that way and it can't be too wide or it can't be too thick or whatever. And, those are hopefully some lessons that we'll be able to take forward as we build. We want to build up more terrain, right? We always want to be expanding. So it was a nice learning curve for us there. I did get a whole bunch of positive comments because I think, like a lot of guys, especially, with 10th being the way it is, still very fresh, have run into, a lot of people going through the same struggles we are, which is that they now need more terrain and certain clubs are struggling or certain events have struggled. So we got a lot of compliments on that, and we are always looking for that, but we're also obviously always looking for more feedback too, what guys don't like. And I think there was one table specifically there that I had two different guys come up to me, and they actually felt like it was too much terrain. But it was, which is kind of a fun problem to have. But for the most part, we got a lot of great feedback, a lot of good comments, and a lot of really important experience, because obviously, those GW styles are going to stick around, and we want to be able to deliver. So,
absolutely. I know I tried to make a really big point of mingling from table to table throughout the course of the weekend, getting a few words in with players as, you're able to, not to disrupt the games. And just, again, to echo your point, lots of feedback on the tables. They were looking really good. Players were really happy with it, which was the main goal. I know when we were doing the big push for paint, it's like, well, we'll get it up to this stage. Let's move on to the next. And I was like, and then we'll finish it. And we'll keep going. And we'll add oxide and we'll sponge it. And I just remember Scott looking at me like, holy fuck, buddy. Like, really? We don't have time for this shit. But we made it work. We did make it work, so that part was nice.
And that part was nice. I think it's just kind of from this point just expanding and also the shift in not just number of pieces, but actually also the shapes of pieces and stuff creates a whole nother layer of stuff that you have to do with basing. Because of course we like, especially with ruins, which is basically all that GW wants you to run. Mm-hmm. We want to have nice bases for all of those. So that means expanding our base collection and getting our base collection organized so that we have, good bases for every table. Which that was kind of the last thing that we had to deal with for Iron Within. And we made it work, but I still think that that's one area where we can improve on too, is just getting a nicer set and crisper set of bases and organizing our bases a little better so that they all fit a little nicer. Because having the right footprint on everything is as much or bigger of an issue than even having the right terrain. But, we're kind of stickers for wanting it to look good. So,
absolutely.
So, yeah. But it was a busy weekend on that front. But like I said earlier, because everything else was going so well, it actually turned out to not be really an issue to be swapping the GW styles in between games and stuff like that. Because, even as a TO, I didn't have a whole lot else to worry about. Everybody was doing so well. Yeah. So
I really did like the mission sheets too that Isaac ended up getting done. Big shout, Isaac, thank you. Because it was just awesome. Like every time you're done your round, all right, end of the round, we all kind of skittled out there, put down round 2, game 3, game 4. But I had all the cards, all the layouts, everything you needed right there at your fingertips, which definitely moved things along without having to do the player placed, back and forth. I felt the game started really quick. Got to your table, Hey man, cool, this is what my army does. They're already deploying. It was really quick, which was really nice to see.
And that was something that we zeroed in on a little bit going into this, and that we'll be continuing on going forward as well, because I also really like the game sheets. Isaac had told me, I guess those were something that he said it was one of the GW events had used something very similar. Yeah. And I agreed with him that they were such a good idea, because that's just the same thing, right? Where it's like, okay, well, we can give you, your mission and your mission rule, your layout, all that stuff, but then you're going through your cards, trying to find the right ones. And the other guy's asking you, hey, what was this? What mission was it? And that's also a thing that pops up, is somebody missed the announcement for what mission it was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. this was just a time saver. You had a little sheet that was sitting right there at the table where you got to it. It had your mission, your layout. It had everything. The map on it was perfect. The map had both the way that the terrain should look, where the objectives went, and what your deployment zones were, all on it, all in one tiny little map. And of course, it had all the rules you needed. You didn't have to dig out your cards. You didn't have to go asking around what's what. You could immediately get in the game. And that was the same thing, like we said, with the terrain, with the GW layouts. You don't have to waste time setting up terrain. You don't have to worry too much about figuring out objective placements, measurements, all this crap.
Yeah.
Because we want, rounds to be as much about playing the game and less about setting up, because that's always been an issue. You lose time to this. No, let's get the guys right in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was really good. The one thing I really did like was the clear acrylic bases that we did use for the event. Trying to step away from the MDF painted stuff. Just the clear bases obviously work on every mat, every style. So that was a big thing. I know feedback-wise, we'll probably end up putting like a 1/8 trim, little color just around the perimeter so you can see it. There were some times on certain tables you're like, oh, if there's no glare off of it, it's kind of fucking hard to see. So lessons learned on that one. So it's an easy fix for us just to, again, hone that terrain front just a little bit more and make it as good as we can. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it, especially from what we've learned from Iron Within. We can actually roll forward into 40 hours of 40k, which is going to be coming up pretty soon. Yeah.
Right before we leave off on Iron Within, I did want to throw out just a quick little thank you, specifically to really all the players, but specifically also to kind of the contingent that we managed to string together of our Trident guys. The nature of Iron Within is just that, obviously as tournament runners, we kind of shift our boots from players, which we like to be, into our TO pants, which we also love to do. But that meant that guys like Bill and myself and Andy and Arthur were all tied down with that sort of thing. So we had to hope for our other Trident members to come out and represent the home club for us. And really appreciated with Ryan and Isaac and Ethan and Aiden coming out and giving it their all weekend, and honestly doing great. Obviously Aiden came to take names, just losing in the final there. And Isaac and Ethan had great runs. Ryan had a great run when you consider that he played Votan.
Doing good.
He's basically just memeing on guys at this point. So Ryan had a spectacular run, all things considered. And I just, really wanted to thank them, because they're not just, like I said, defending home turf. They're also repping Trident. And they were excellent opponents all weekend, both competitively and gentlemanly. So that was just a little thing I wanted to make sure we got in there. So, but like you said, Iron Within for this year is now in the past. Watch out for next year, because like I said, we're always looking to grow. But the big thing on our horizon right now is the 40 hours of 40k event.
Absolutely.
That we're hosting at IP. Well, that is being hosted at IPG. We are not hosting it. We are just one cog in that machine. We have coming into TO for the boys, specifically JP, obviously, with Garviel Studios, who's the head man on this, right, Bill?
Yep, exactly. There's going to be... How many teams do we have signed up already? It was like 7 or 8?
You know what? We have 10 teams already signed up for this. Oh,
wow. Killer.
We have room for up to 6 more. So if you haven't signed up yet, if you want to get some buddies together, the players pack is available online. Maybe Bill can throw it in the description here.
Absolutely.
You guys can check that out. Make sure you read through it. Obviously, it's a little bit of a different sort of event. It's a team event. It's a 40 hours nonstop 10-round event. An absolutely wild sort of thing that has definitely never been done in the city before. It is a very different, but I think going to be a very awesome sort of event for just a spectacular cause. So if you guys want to get signed up for that, you guys can go dig out all the info there. But so far, honestly, we're getting a great amount of support. 10 teams, most of them have, I think about the average number of players per team is about 5 right now. There's a couple teams that are huge, like 8+ players. There's a few teams that are 3 or 4, but they've got another guy or two that they think are coming. There is one team of 2 brave souls, Hudson Cardinal and Ryan Mayer, who are full-on man-moding it. They are intentionally playing with just the 2 of them, and they plan to play the entire 10 rounds just between the 2 of them. So wherever you fall on that spectrum, feel free to get signed up with some buddies, or also, more than a few of the teams have mentioned that, they've signed up their team, but they're more than happy to take extras. And we will put you in contact with people if you are interested. We're happy to facilitate in that way. So anybody out there who's interested, whether they're a group or just a solo guy, get in contact with us. We'll get you signed in, because this is going to be just a wicked cool thing, which you basically will never get the chance to experience anywhere else.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think it'll really start to gain a lot of momentum and hype as we get closer to the event itself. Right now we are at the point, at the time of recording, we're 20 days away, or 19 days away from it kicking off, which is just going to be insane. That's creeping up on us really quick.
September 22nd is when we start, right? 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Friday night, September 22nd is when we kick off, and it'll be rolling all the way until Sunday morning. So,
we finish at 11 a.m.
Yep. And of course, us Trident guys will be there. You'll be able to find at least some of us the whole time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But there's lots and lots of teams. As I said, we already got 10 signed up. Pretty much everywhere, every group in the city, I think, is signed up.
That's awesome.
There's one or two groups, or like either clubs or stores or whatever, that I can think of that aren't signed up yet. But you know what? Even they probably have ideas for it. So this is going to be a true citywide kind of thing going on, and a very unique sort of thing. So
which is just awesome.
Again, for the cause, right? Like, I mean, this is amazing too, because it's not just a bunch of dudes getting together to duke it out for pride. We're doing it for a great charity. So there's an additional layer of real coolness to this. And I think I talked to you a little bit about it, Bill, but I think we'll probably be trying to get a little bit of a community area going there at IPG throughout the event as well. So, in addition to being able to play games, if you're on a team, you can also come by and hang out and just obviously watch games. But I think we'll just kind of have a little bit of a hangout area going too, just to kind of keep things interesting and fresh for everybody who wants to come. Just be a part.
Yeah, just a chill spot where you can kind of hang out, and I'm sure it'll be close to where JP's painting. So you can kind of, peek at that, too, right? Hang out, watch some games. It should really be a pretty nice spot. I am looking forward to it, though. I think the event will go awesome. So
it's going to be super cool. And we would be remiss if we did not, of course, mention that on top of everything else, anybody, including whether you're in the event or not, is more than happy or more than welcome to donate to the cause. And doesn't have to be purely altruistic, because JP, of course, is raffling this incredible, professionally painted orc army to go with the donations pot. Every $5 you donate gets you an extra ticket into the pot, and they'll be raffling that off, I believe, at the end of the event. This orc army is insane. It's been done. Work's been done on it by some of the top painters in the entire country. So there's an additional layer there. Again, we'll make sure you have all the links accessible to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can hit us up.
Yeah, that'll all be in the description. So you can even check out Garville Studio and the 40 Hours of 40k. They post like pictures of the actual finished units, and top-notch work from many artists. So definitely looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that'll be our big September big September event before we kind of shift into fall mode. And I think let me see here. The first thing after 40 Hours of 40k will probably be a very long nap.
Absolutely.
maybe a day of an extra day of rest in there, just so that the old bones of the Trident guys here are able to function after a weekend like that. Because we know there'll be honestly. Here's something I'm going to throw out there. This is a little bit of a prediction, I guess. 40 hours of 40k. Obviously, as this thing runs the whole way through and starts at 7 o'clock on the Friday, that means that there is going to be both a Friday night and a Saturday night night crew, ostensibly, playing all the way through the night at IPG. And I am betting you right now that those will be some of the best and most fun times of the entire year for 40k players. I bet you that we will outshine the Saturday day crew. And in fact, I'm willing to bet on it, but also willing to challenge them to it. And we'll see how things go. But it's also going to be very tiring. But we'll see how things shake out. But I think it's going to be very fun to be having a tournament kind of thing going on in that kind of environment.
Absolutely. If you are a shift worker, you're probably going to have a leg up, being normally sleep deprived, so you can get in there and roll some dice and really kick ass. So put your night shift skills to use.
Finally a 40k event for the night shift guys. Yeah. Like they've been waiting years.
Doesn't get any better than this.
Yep.
So no, that's excellent. Excellent. I know as we shift into October, it's going to get busy. We've got a couple different things kind of on the go. There is the Blood Bowl Howler event. That is October 7th, and there's going to be some 30k action going on there. We've got posts. There'll be that in the description as well, so you can jump in. And 2 weeks later, we actually jump into Hallowtide 40k, which is going to be a RTT that goes alongside Bolt Action. I'm looking forward to Hallowtide. I think it's going to be fun. I'm not going to crush any of my own fucking models on the stairs. I won't be sleep deprived. It's going to be a great weekend. Looking forward to it.
These are manifestations that you're working on, right?
Yeah.
You're predicting a better start.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm going to say it right now. Like, I'm actually kind of excited for the Blood Bowl Howler too, because this is obviously a new thing that we haven't done before, but I think is a really cool community that I'm looking to get really excited to get in touch with and see them kind of do their things, because obviously Blood Bowl is just a cool thing that's been around forever.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited for us to get involved with that. Hallowtide's obviously kind of my baby, so I do love the thought of it. It's going to be another hopefully banging day. Saturday, October 21st is when that is. Tickets for it are up on BCP. The players pack will be popping out real soon here. Got to be getting that out there. I think we're only kind of funny to think, but I think we're like 6-ish weeks away. So it's time to get that out there, and that'll be available for people. We haven't 100% settled on the twist for this year yet, but that'll be done real soon here. And it's always like Hallowtide's kind of meant to be a fun RTT, like more so than just your usual get together and throw 3 games out. You know, we want to throw a little bit of a fastball at you, but we're also going to be making sure that there's some extra fun prizes to win and stuff. It is, as you know, the same as last year. Obviously, it is my birthday, so I try to make it a little bit extra fun. It's also I was realizing today it's Aiden's birthday as well, so it's basically like a Trident birthday party, is what that event is. So
it's kind of like
we'll be getting the details.
It'll be like a challenge, like how many pints per round can you have?
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Don't ask the TO for any rules.
Any calls? No,
you don't know. You don't know. You're better off on your own. Believe me.
If his eyes look googly like the fucking Cookie Monster, definitely don't ask him.
Yeah, it could get pretty wild. Let's just put it that way.
Awesome.
But so that'll be October 21st. Just another hopefully great Saturday for us there. And you know, like I said, a little bit of a different tournament to shake things up a little bit for you guys. And then I know the week after that, literally 1 week later, we're taking a good half of the Trident crew out east
On the
to do
road.
Western Team Championships with our wonderful Prairie Fire buddies.
Yeah.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get closer to the date. So it is going to be a busy October, busy September in front of us. We do definitely have a lot going on. So if you're into 40k, there's not
There's
going to be a
lots.
shortage of stuff. Actually, not even 40k, because we got 30k and Blood Bowl and stuff. And actually, I'm not even mentioning it here, but of course, I know end of October probably or early November will also be firing up the next iteration of the Edmonton Warhammer League as well.
That's very
so we'll
true.
be dragging Arthur in here at some point to talk about that. So it's kind of an interesting time of year. The start of September is always a little wild for everybody. It's been wild for us because we're sitting here with, even if you're not like a teacher or per se, a lot of guys have their jobs kind of shift gears when fall comes in. A lot of people, they've got kids, so the kids going back to school, even if the parents aren't. We got students who are adults as well, like myself. I'm back to school this year. Going to be finishing grade 6. Never did get that far before, so catching up now. But once we're 1 or 2 weeks into September, we're going to be coming at you fast and hard with the content once again. So,
Absolutely. And for those heresy people out there, if you are listening, just to sate your curiosity, there will be heresy content coming, obviously, from the October 7th event, and then the first week in November. A few of us are actually flying down for the Boys of the Golden Throne Memorial event in Victoria. So there'll be some Titanicus and 30k games being thrown down, and we'll have pictures and we'll have the socials flooded with that stuff as well. So not to worry about that.
no one gets left behind.
Never. Speaking of which, I know we've also got planned for in December. It's December 9th right now, is for the Trident Social. That's essentially what we're going to try and do, is make it like a big bits bazaar, kind of trade, swap, sell, little like station. And then shortly after that, it would bleed into a dinner. So we want to really try and encourage all the different groups of gamers. Bring your significant others out. Come out, have a like steak dinner or chicken dinner or something. We'll arrange with the club, and we'll have tickets for dinner where you can just have a nice bite to eat, have some drinks, socialize with other like-minded members in the community. Hawk some of your wares. Buy some supper after. It'll be great. Unload that pile of shame and turn it into a night out with the friends and people you enjoy rolling dice with. So,
yeah, this is kind of something that I really can't say enough about, is that for Trident, like, it's not just about running events for the sake of running events. We want to be able to provide guys the outlet for getting their games in, but like realistically, the signs of a healthy community are not that it's just about the games, because that's actually sometimes where it can get a little toxic. We're very much about trying to make that community thing. That's why we do these podcasts. That's why we run events. That's why we've got the website going. That's why we've got merch going, is that it's really as much or really even more about building community and nurturing that community within the city here. And this will be our first Trident Social. We kind of want to be getting it going, like Bill said, December 9th, kind of early in December here, just to kind of cap off the year, run a little bit swap for guys, and then yeah, we're looking to just run like a nice dinner. And we'll obviously have the details of all of that kind of coming to you a little later in the year. But obviously, this is something we're going to try to make as affordable as possible, and give guys a little bit of a reason to come out and share the hobby side of things, and just kind of hang out and hopefully be able to talk about how we're all at that point hopefully happy that Eldar have been reduced to a 30% win rate and that the dark times are behind us.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll have more information on that coming up a little bit later on in the year, once we're kind of out of this very busy start to our fall.
Yeah.
And then looking towards kind of the end of the year sort of thing. So
Absolutely. I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun.
I have the date circled too. I think it would be awesome if we could really put this together and have it pop off. So,
yeah.
But
That'll be great.
like I said, we'll have more of that coming your guys' way in a few weeks. And in the meantime, the focus is squarely on 40 hours of 40k.
Yeah.
So, which has got me excited in all sorts of ways. So, I'm the biggest thing about it too, and this is kind of something that does actually tie back to the social, is that I think it's going to be a chance to, if you want to see and get to know and talk with and hang out with probably the biggest selection of guys from across the city that you'll ever get. Because even at a big event, you got 40, 50, 60 people maybe. But like, if with the way that 40 hours of 40k is starting to look like, there's already 10 teams, we could see as many as 16, and with 5+ players on most of them, you're going to get to meet some guys that you probably never met before.
Yeah.
You're going to get to see some old and new faces. So it could be a real cool thing. And like I said, it's rare that we have events that have this good of a cause behind them. So any support that we can get for it is just so incredibly awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. As we roll out, and speaking of support, I want to say a big thank you, big shout out to our patrons. Without you guys, we couldn't do what we do. So we definitely appreciate you guys. Help supporting the channel. Big shout out to Ed, Tyler, Christopher, Dustin, and Frederick. So thank you guys for jumping on, supporting. If you want to also support us, you'll see our links in the description. You can jump on. It's $5 a month, basically, to help support the channel. You get some insider info as things pop up. And as we continue to kind of hone and figure out how we're going to expand that program, you'll be the first to hear about it. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that.
We have some more perks coming up down the line here. So
absolutely. So
in the meantime, you guys can check us out here on the channel. Obviously, we've got all the Facebook pages going that you guys can hit us up on, both the Trident page and the Edmonton Warhammer League page and the Thursday Night Game page.
Yeah.
And of course, at the Trident website, I believe Arthur just put a new article up today, actually.
It's true.
Talking about fighting games and 40k, which is actually quite insightful. So
yeah, definitely give that a read. And thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next week.
Take care, guys.
Did you plug the Patreon? We need to plug the Patreon.